But also, we have had a number of other organizing parties, Omniscience, Romab, Societal and Management Doctors. And we also have a premier partner this year called Advenica that has been giving a presentation here yesterday, and they also have a booth upstairs. But we also have Atea, who is another partner, Netrosec, Hudson Cybertech, and EnergyNet, who has been helping out with the trainings. So, please, welcome to CST Stockholm.
Yeah, and before we open the stage for all our excellent speakers, we had a lot of submissions this year, despite the name change. We would like to say a couple of words from us, just to reflect on this topic before everyone else is going to have all the intelligence. So we would like to talk about technology as a driver. You all know about, we have these smart meters. We have sensors everywhere measuring things. And we live in our smart house, and we have this smart grid, and living in our smart cities. And we, of course, we're driving our intelligent cars, yes, of course. And we have a smart lighting to have more secure environment. And all these devices getting connected, so we actually have more devices connected than we have humans on the planet. Think about that. And everything that can be connected can also be hacked. So you remember was it 1 year ago, almost, the Mirai? There were actually IoT devices into a large botnet and make DDoS attacks, so it was actually having problems on the internet. And we see this coming more and more. And you're all familiar with the problem with phishing emails as an attack vector. But how many of you had heard about this internet-connected fish tank that could monitor your temperature and feed the fishes, but that could also be a point of attack? There was a casino in Northern America was actually attacked and scanned the network via this fish tank. But we also have other problems.
Yes, so we depend on technology all the time. And we depend on certain solutions and certain standards and certain protocols, and now and then something pops up and it just breaks them. It could be design flaws, it could be hardware flaws on like a low-level chip that is used for radio transmission and so on. Or it could be some other thing, like we were speaking about Bluetooth and Wi-Fi here, but there could be other things that overnight changes from being secure and well-used to something that is completely broken. One example of that is the 11 lines of code that actually broke the JavaScript ecosystem. So this was a small JavaScript code called leftpad that was used in a number of different places. And other people was using that, and they were actually downloading it on the fly from this guy's place on the internet. The problem was that he got angry and he removed that, and suddenly there was a lot of other third-party applications that just stopped working because he pulled his 11 lines of code from the internet. So we actually build a big ecosystem, a big infrastructure that will have dependencies and reliances of other components that might be there or might not be there another day. So this is an example of a programmer, a Swedish programmer that just the other week he got a prize from the Royal King of Sweden because he is the inventor of this thing called curd. So on a good day, your code that you have written that actually runs in billions of devices. So his code is running on Android phone, on Linux boxes, on the installer of macOS and all the places. So on a good day, you will get a prize from the Royal King. On a bad day, there will be a bug in this code and it will affect billions of things. So we have all these things and it gets tinier and tinier and we'll have it all over the place. So we're having to catch up and we have to fix things. So the problem we have is that we need to update things, and we should need to update them continuously. But how do we do that? Is there Patch Tuesday for the smart city? Is there a Patch Tuesday for the smart grid? Sorry, we have to turn off the power here because we have to reboot everything that is on the power poles.
And we see this patching issue can be painful, and a lot of utilities and people in general are not really going into patching because some things have to be restarted, and sometimes patching is not working at all. And we do a lot of assessments out in reality, and we also see newer installations of SCADA systems that are not really patched at all, even for these weaknesses that we saw half a year ago, WannaCry and stuff like that. So that bothers us, that we are not more onto, we are now writing 2017, so we have to be better than this. But we know that patching can be difficult. Last year we had a presentation by Marie and Aaron about very close to our heart systems that are critical for our lives. And this summer we had FDA in US calling in 500,000 people almost to update their hackable pacemakers. And it's not just devices that can be hacked or so. We also have a small clip for showing the humans.
Curtains, lights, doors. It even unlocks my car. And the only one with access is me.
Yeah, right. But the funny thing, we have been having a more serious discussion here in Sweden too. What do you say, Robert?
So one thing that has happened here in Sweden is that suddenly these things has become real, for real. So we're having this on the political agenda. So for you that are not from Sweden, last couple of months this has been over the news the whole time. We have even have 2 ministers been resigning because of a big scandal that has been happening with one of the government agencies that is taking care of big databases of people's licenses to drive and everything. So what we think is that this is something that has suddenly become very interesting for a lot of people, the general public. It has been something that comes up in the spotlight of the news and the media. And this will not go away for a long time, because suddenly something that was a techie problem has become a political problem on the highest level. So, but going from today and trying to look into the crystal ball and see the future, what do we see? What's going to happen in the future?
Yeah, we see a lot of things getting smaller, as Robert said, and really small. This is the world's smallest temperature sensor. It doesn't even have a battery because it's using the radio wavelengths as an energy source. So you can imagine everything getting measured. So where we store everything, Robert, how about the clouds?
Yes, the cloud is everything. So the cloud is hyped and everyone wants to have things in the cloud. But if you're thinking about it, the cloud is just someone else's computer. So, and it's someone else's who puts your agenda. It's someone else's who sets your IT policy and your IT architecture. And they are the driver. You're not the driver anymore if you put things into the cloud.
So a very easy prediction for us to do is that we will have larger IoT botnets. And when we talk about larger, we think there will be huge. There are predictions of we having like 20 billions of connected devices in just a couple of years, and some of the manufacturers are actually talking about trillions of devices. Think about 1 trillion devices, like in 2035 or something I heard. So it's going to be rough if everything is connected and everyone is talking to each other.
And I mean, some of the manufacturers that do these predictions, like ARM, they are the one who is actually putting the things into everything that is running on low power, and that way our mobile devices.
So Robert, who is controlling the security then?
Are we? I don't know. I think we are sort of losing the control, possibility to control it. But we have to fight to regain it and to still have it, because otherwise we have no way of making things secure.
Yeah, and everything is connected and have computers. We also have this situation where we can be kidnapped also.
So everyone remember the WannaCry thing that happened this summer, but when we have everything is connected, everything in our kitchen, everything in our home. So what will the next level of ransomware be?
So we have this as a timeline when we see actually the IoT devices increasing in numbers. But we also have working hard, conferences like this and all over, trying to keep up and increase the security. But still, there is a big gap because the number of devices out there are much more. So there's the Red Queen, Alice in Wonderland. I have small kids. Have you read Alice in Wonderland?
Yeah. So there's this quote from this. My dear, we must run as fast as we can just to stay in one place. And if you wish to go anywhere, you must run twice as fast as that. So you have the situation, no matter how far you are, the thing that you're trying to catch is sort of going away from you. That is the nightmare scenario. And if we're going to do doom and gloom, that is what we're going to see. But I think, and I hope really, that we will try to be better, that we can do something about it. This is not deep, deep trouble that someone other said at this other conference in the US that just started yesterday. We think that you could do things about it.
Yeah, we think there are many things we can do, and one is, of course, like this. We have to make more aware and change the environment. We have to change the way we think about security. So it's not just working harder and harder. We have to work smarter. And we have to change the mindset of the businesses. So we can talk about the consequences in a way. So we have to have the tools for that. We have to monitor and log and have control of our network so we can see the anomalies and the differences that shouldn't be there.
Another thing, we have to change the mindset when we build things and we do things. So, for example, when someone, like a vendor, puts something out on the market, they should not put a web server there because it's nice to have a web server, because then it gets more IoT. Double check if you really need to have this type of functionality in your new stuff. You don't do it just because marketing said it's a good thing that we should have this new functionality.
So what we're saying is get the basic right.
Yeah. So you really have that in place before you go for the more advanced things.
Yeah, and I think if you talk about this in a strategic way, you can also have that there is a good investment in security, not just trying to patch everything later on. But we see that the bubbles, the driving of everything is often the efficiency, the cost, and the technology. And the security is a very tiny part of this. In this pilot project with smarter grids and stuff like that, we see a very little part that is focused on security. And we need to change that.
So we have this intersection, yeah, and we have to make sure that security is not forgotten or not given the right focus.
So that was some words from us to set the scene for this conference. And once again, welcome and catch up with us. And don't forget to go down to the Geek Lounge. We will have a more announcement of that.
Yep. So, everyone, welcome to these 2 days.
And now it's time for us to welcome
The one and only.
The one and only Anne-Marie Eklund Löwinder, our host and moderator.
Thank you, thank you. No, don't put the blame on me. We're just human, aren't we? Very warm welcome to this year's summit, CS3. I will not need to go through this name change. And I'm extremely happy to be back as your host and moderator, and I will navigate you through this summit as good as I can. And now that Erik and Robert set the scene for this, I will begin with the dull but still needed stuff, which is very practical to know. Please make sure that you know where you have your emergency exit. There are 2 behind me on each side, and there are 3 more over there. So, as they say in your flights, you can have the nearest just behind you. The Nalen wireless network password is TOPSY 2017. You have all the information on the screen there. And we would, as Erik and Robert mentioned, we would appreciate if you tweet about the conference to make this new name roll the world. And in the plastic bag with your badge, you will find the full agenda in the brochure with all the details and all the information you need throughout the conference. And those of you who have formal certifications, this summit entitles you to CPE credits. Talk to the crew about it if there's something you need to know. And we love to interact with you. As you know, if you have been here before, we use Menti. And all the codes you have on the screen there, they also in your brochure in the last page. You can put questions to the speakers, and the speakers will put questions to you, like measuring the temperature of the room. And moreover, you can use Menti to rate the speakers, the summit, the pre-summit tutorials, and what have we. And it's not as complicated as you might think. And during the breaks, I will encourage you all to visit Stacken with the ICS and IoT labs, bigger and better than ever before. So now I will not take more of your precious time, so let's move on in the agenda. First of all, I would like to invite Margaret Raum on stage. She's one of the organizers and represents FIRST. So a few words, Margaret, on your work.
Yeah, this is my fourth time at this conference. So first is the Forum of Incident Response and Security Teams. We have some 380 teams across the world. And I think 5 years ago we wanted to look at certain industries that were missing in the incident response community. And we started looking for a good partner. So we were not too happy about what we found the first year, but then I came across 4.6. And it's been a lovely friendship, and I think the work that you guys do for this conference is great. And
well, you're part of it.
Well, yes, but it's so great to have the activity in the industrial control system community.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. I couldn't agree more.
Thank you.
Thank you, Margareta.